drive us crazy.
Because they'll say, oh, we can fix that chip. Next
Oh,
thing you
yeah,
know,
bam!
it's broken.
And now they get to
Because they get money to actually replace the windshield, not to fix the chip.
No, they get
Well,
money.
they get money, but
they
it's
get a lot
not
more
much.
money to replace it. No, we donate $25 in your name to any animal organization because we think it's saving lives.
Very cool.
Some people dig that, a lot of people don't care, that's what we do. Because if we give cash back, we can lose our status with the two biggest insurance. There's a place called Links and a place called SGC, and they're a third-party administrator for all insurance. If they find out we're giving cash back, we lose our status with them. That's bad. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, insurance man, for understanding.
Afternoon, everybody.
Can you change our whole entire industry? Your statement is pain-free. Can you really do that?
I hate getting something gas station at the car place.
I love them look at me, like, really? Oh my God.
They come on,
My
and
shot
look
is
down, like,
right
go away,
there.
go away, go away. No, I've got to come over and do this. No, you don't. My name is Matt Fox.
Hi, Matt Fox.
Good day. Hopefully you guys are all in the right spot. Yeah, selling, marketing, getting your stuff. I'm actually a little bit nervous today because I wasn't sure like who's going to be coming to listen to what it is that I do. My background is in financial services, mainly insurance. I've done a lot of direct marketing over the past 15, 20 years almost now. So that's my background. Going out, mailers, direct mail campaigns. I've done a lot of pay-per-click advertising over the past, and using those types of and online blogging and that type of stuff to generate business. Got into the whole sales and marketing shtick about that time also, and about 5-10 years ago ran into some information on resistance and selling. A lot of studies are being done on it. And is everybody here familiar with like Robert Cialdini's Influence, the book Influence, whatnot? Never heard? It's like the marketing Bible, so to speak. It talks about the 6 principles of influence, reciprocity. You buy something. You ever go out to dinner and somebody buys you dinner, and then like next time you guys go out to dinner, you feel like you have to buy them dinner? Okay. So he talks about these principles. There's nothing wrong with them. They're all very good. He talks about using it in an ethical way. But a lot of the marketing and sales tactics that go on out there, they kind of like want to build on benefits, kind of pushing a person over there. So scarcity is one of his tactics. And so if you ever see something like a time limit on something or a quantity limit on something, you feel like you have to get through and buy it and that type of thing. There's still resistance in the person to buying it, but they feel like they've got to get it within a certain time limit or before the quantity is sold out. So that's what I do is kind of talk about, you can still use those techniques, but these complement it and go along with it to make the buying process a lot easier. Are you guys selling marketing stuff right now, or are you guys selling things? Books. Like what industry? What?
Video services.
Okay, so you're like going out and doing the video stuff and selling that product. Is it like marketing online, or?
Also doing marketing for small businesses. You've got a business and you want to use video on your website, so you hire me to come do a video of you talking about your business.
I think maybe that's what it came from.
Yeah, I'm sure kind of.
And when you're doing class repair, what else? What do you guys? We were talking to you. You do videos also. Different, but you're in a specific niche.
We market our TV show. So.
Yeah. What do you guys?
Marketing and websites.
Okay. So most of it's online, I'm assuming, is what is the deal here. That's cool. Cool. That kind of gives me. Basically, there's 3 types of resistance, according to psychology. The first is reactance. Anybody here have kids? Go clean up your room? No, I don't want to. That type of stuff.
Stop.
That's reactance. Okay, we all have that. It's a natural process in the sales process. Reactance is resistance to the sales process. So if you've ever gone to another example that I always like to use, because my father was in the car business my whole life, is the car industry. You know, you get in the car, you go for the test drive or whatever, the guy's behind you, oh, you look good in this. You know, they're doing the tactics, they set you down in the car to talk to. It's back and forth between the manager and the finance guy. It's like they come back and they write down a piece of paper that says you win, you know, we've got your price here, like that. That whole sales process is the reactance. You have, when you think about going to buy a car, that's that feeling that you get, reactance. Or if you're online, the long sales letter, you know, the really long sales letter with the bright red headlines and the yellow highlighter and stuff like that. What's that?
The big gold seal.
The big gold seal and all the other fun stuff like that. Pop-ups are a big one now. Like everybody's complaining about pop-ups online.
But they use them.
What's that?
But they use them.
But well, it's because they work.
That's what I'm saying. They enter their information when it pops up.
One of my favorite unsubscribes that I got was somebody emailed me back and said I unsubscribed because when I clicked the link on the email, there was a pop-up. And when I went and looked back, he actually subscribed to the pop-up like a year ago. So they work. But they do create resistance in some people. It's that, like I said, it's that not me, I don't want to, whatnot. So some of the ways to deal with that, I got my little notes here because I wrote the book, but it doesn't mean I'll forget it. Remember everything up here. Creating a relationship with your customer. A lot of the social media experts talk about how great social media is and how it allows you to create a relationship with your customer before they make a decision to buy. You know, we were doing that years before with direct mail and having them, they request the information and we follow up with direct mail. You can still create a relationship with your customer by blogging nowadays. It's going to set up the precedent that you're there beforehand. You're going to be there afterwards. Some people that are really good at that is like Copy Blogger. Anybody here read Copy Blogger out there? Anytime you get an email from them or you see an offer from them, are you likely to click on it and see what the hell it is? I mean, it's like anytime they send something, what's the new thing that they got, the Entreproducer? Is that what it is? You guys familiar with that? You guys are fun. That's like when, you know, because they have a relationship with their customer, with their readers, that no matter what they put out, there's some sort of value there, or it comes across as some sort of value there. Speaking of pop-ups, going back to pop-ups, getting them on the email list is another way. That's a huge one. A lot of people like Facebook and all those other things. I'm big on email lists because it's mine as opposed to being on Facebook. But if you're using Facebook or those types of platforms to get your customer, you can create the relationship through there because you're building up social proof, etc. to do that. I'll jump to the next one here. Minimize the request. This could be good for you. Actually, anyway. I always like to use the example. If I was moving tomorrow and asked you to come help me move, would you? Probably not. When we moved a couple of years ago, I asked some friends, you know, other things that went around it, but we're moving, can you come help me for an hour? You know, they stayed most of the day, but just by minimizing the request, asking them for just an hour of their time, minimizes the request. So it makes it a lot easier, it makes it more likely that someone's going to do something. There was research, actually Robert Cialdini. I gotta read this or I'll forget it. They did, this was quite a few years ago, they had volunteers going door to door asking for charity. I don't know what the charity was, but they were just asking for donations for the charity. Excuse me. Here it is, there it is. Then they went around and asked them, so they just had them asking, would you donate to this charity, XYZ charity? They had another group that was going around asking, or randomly they were asking them, they would ask for the donation, and at the end they'd say, even a penny would help. Okay. By minimizing requests, asking even a penny would help, 21% more households donated to this charity. The difference was the exact same amount was donated by the ones where they said even a penny will help versus just asking for the donation flat out. So they were able to increase their amount 21%. It wasn't like they got a smaller amount from that group. They still got the same, it doesn't say what the amount was, but they were able to get the same amount just by minimizing requests, saying even a penny would help. So if you're selling a package, a starter package or something like that for a video thing, you know, even if you can't afford this, we can get you going on this. We can get you on a starter package or some sort of small like for the thing. We can come out and look at it, or just minimizing. We can come out. No pressure. Do you guys do pay-per-click? Anybody do online? Any paid advertising? Most people don't. You guys are missing out on all the fun. Paid advertising is so much fun. It is. You have no idea. Has anybody ever shopped for insurance online? What's that? Oh, I thought you said something. This was a few years ago when I had my agency, but if you go to like a Geico or any of these insurance websites, you go and it's like, here's page 1, and it asks for your name and your email address. Down at the bottom it says click next, and you go to the next page. And it doesn't say how many pages there are, you don't know what information they're going to collect, how long you're going to be sitting there. When we were doing pay-per-click advertising, we had my ad, one of my biggest pulling ad it was an easy one-page quote form. That was it. It was a one-page quote form. It converted, it was like between 30 and 40% of the clicks converted into actual quotes, or quote requests. They fill out all the form. It would still require all the same information, but it was, what's that? But it was on one page. They could see what it was. It wasn't threatening. And it said it's an easy quote form. We were minimizing the request because we weren't having to do this big, huge, long form that we don't know what it is. It's still the same long form. It's just, it looks nice and tidy. The other one is minimizing commitment. If you're selling stuff online, don't ask for information that's not necessary. And I don't know how many of you are actually physically selling stuff online. I don't know if you know Gumroad.com or Stripe is a newer one. I mean, they require like an email address and your credit card. That's it. It's nice. I mean, if you're going to be selling something and you're worried about them getting to the checkout page and canceling, and they want your name and address, and you're just wanting to download something, your name, address, your phone number, it's like what else is going to be coming down the road? Just using that type of service where you're just asking for just the basic information that allows you to minimize requests. The next one, focus the resistance. This is another technique to get around this. Like I said before, that resistance, the reactance that we all have, it's there. Tell them what to resist.
Safely?
Safely. Those vultures out there. I'll pick on social media. Everybody know who on marketing, Scott Stratton? You know, his like whole thing is about pointing out what people do wrong. He never tells you what to do. He tells you what everybody's doing wrong. He's got, what was that?
The computer.
Like follow him on Twitter. It's the funniest damn thing because all he does is talk about, oh God, you know, if you like your own Facebook page, you're doing it wrong. You know, everything is you're doing it wrong. This is if you're doing this, then you're doing it wrong. If you're using pop-ups on your website, you're doing it wrong. Did it just turn off on us?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you just locked.
That's okay.
I'll go get the password for you. I don't know if the live stream's still going or not.
But find an enemy, create a common enemy that they might have. So if you have some other video people out there that you know that isn't doing a job, or they maybe brought up or something. I don't know what that is. Oh,
The little talking teddy bears.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I've seen those. With the digitized voices.
So this is what politicians do all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most political stuff is pointing out what the other guy's doing wrong. But there's very little about what they're doing or what they want to do, because if they stand for something, then it can be shot down. So they want to point out what other people are doing wrong. You could also, if you're selling something, like if you're selling video services, point out that, you know, this, and I don't know this business, so, you know, this isn't going to be the highest resolution. I don't know what that is. You know, so-and-so's going to, they can do this a little bit better, but what we do from a minimal standpoint, it's, you know, it's affordable as what it is. Point out your flaw that you have. Like if you're doing the car repair, you know, the problem is that we've got to make a phone call to the insurance company also. We've got a third party, and I'm sorry, it's a headache, but that's like the biggest headache that we've got. So you're creating something that they can resist, pointing out a small flaw in your product or your service that you offer. Because if you don't tell them what they should pay attention to, they'll find something to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be something that you don't have an argument against.
Control. Cheap glass.
Cheap
That's
glass.
the one. Cheap glass.
Yeah.
Remember hearing about cheap glass?
Yes.
Cheap
My
glass.
$100,000 Mercedes. I went to the-
Pilkington, I don't know what to tell you.
Sorry, I used to be in the property casualty insurance agency, so we talk about insurance or glass companies. Like the structural integrity of your car is involved with with the windshield, and so they put in this cheap crap. And I've seen some get in an accident, your windshield pops out, and you're no longer safe because your airbags don't work. Anyway, cool. Making good time. So those are some of the techniques for reactants. That's dealing with reactants. The second type of resistance is skepticism. Like you guys are all there. You don't believe me. Who am I? You're skeptical of the offer. And that's what this resistance revolves around, the offer, what it is that you're selling. Whether it be say, glass repair, is it the best thing out there? How can I believe you? Testimonials work really good for this. You know, they're asking, are you honest? Can I trust you? Is this the best solution for me? Some ways to deal with skepticism. Reframing the offer that you have. Excuse me. In the book Switch by the Heath brothers, Dan and Chip Heath, they talked about in West Virginia, they were running trying to find a way to do a program to, I guess there's a lot of obese people in West Virginia, so they're trying to get people to eat healthier so that they can lower saturated fat intake is basically what it came down to. And in that part of the country, I guess, they drink a lot of whole milk. It's a big thing. So getting people to try and drink skim milk or 1% milk, that was like their target, is that to lower saturated fat intake, we're going to have them drink skim milk, 1% milk, and help make things better. And instead of coming out, kind of like we were talking about before, saying whole milk is bad, it's really fatty, you should stop eating saturated fats, they said 1 glass of whole milk is the equivalent of eating 5 pieces of bacon in saturated fat content. Did you know that? Does it make you think of a glass of milk different? What's that?
I said I'd rather eat bacon.
Yeah, it's not really compelling, whatever, but yeah.
Bacon and water.
Get the
I'm
milk.
not a milk fan.
And they didn't write down the statistics.
You said.
But it made a huge difference. They were able to pick that one idea and reframe it, and you have this, I would rather eat the bacon too.
That reminds me of a quote somebody was trying to do. Said, instead of telling people don't eat eggs, said, don't tell them don't eat eggs, just tell them that's liquid chicken.
Oh, God. Never eating eggs again.
Great.
Not if you don't eat the yolk, yeah, right. Then it's just liquid chicken parts.
Embryo. Yeah.
The other one is we can reframe the actual resistance itself. So we know that they're skeptical about something. Now we got to tell the readers what to become skeptical about or how to reframe that. So, I mean, it's really just as simple as you know, I know you may not think highly about this, but we're going to talk about whatever. If you're using sales letters or whatnot, I know you might feel skeptical as you read this. That's fine. There's a lot here. I want you to come to the I want you to hold on to that skepticism because that's going to allow you to keep an open mind. So we're reframing their skepticism, their resistance to it, as actually having an open mind, so they can read it with an open mind. Okay. Does that make sense? Everybody with me so far? Questions? Another thing is with skepticism we can deal is by comparing, changing the comparison. So no decision is made in a vacuum. Like every decision that we're making every day, we're relating it to one thing or another. So, like my wife bought an iPad Air last night at the Apple store and got and said, "Oh, I got to get the case." So she got her the cheap. That's why it's overpriced. The Apple case, the flimsy case that goes on top, it has the magnet thing on it. And I'm going, you want the kids to play with this, right? It doesn't have any type of protection with it, so if at the moment it drops, it's wasted. Yeah, exactly, like that. It's like an $80 case. It's ridiculous. She made that decision based on what was there. And so she didn't understand the difference between that and there, so I ended up going by a different case. We all make decisions like that on a daily basis, whether it be, buying a video service, is this the best marketing dollars for me? Buying whatever product it is that you're selling, is this the best dollars for me? We're comparing it against rent, against car payments, against other things like that. Again, there was another study where they asked people what the last 2 digits of their social security number were. So they went around the room and asked people what your last two digits of your social security number are. 89, 32, 12, whatever it is. Then they asked them, how much would you pay for this item? And the people with higher social security numbers, after just giving a random number, would pay more than the people with lower last 2 digits of their social security numbers. So when you make your offer, give them something to compare it against. So when you're starting glass repair, the thousands of dollars it's going to cost, somebody went with XYZ company, you don't even have to name the company, but you talk about the cost because at the accident when the windshield popped out incorrectly, the airbags didn't work and there was $15,000 worth of damage. Well, now it's only however many hundreds of dollars to fix it the right way. So you're able to start bringing up prices. An industry I was in, the cemetery and funeral industry. Anybody familiar with that?
You have had an
Nobody else will be one day.
We sold pre-need, so we weren't dealing with the dead. So we're talking about buying things now while you're alive and healthy, so that way when you die, your family doesn't have to deal with all the headaches and burden, locking in the price, all this other fun stuff. I used to do it in insurance too, but you always start with the highest price. So we talk about the $1.5 million private estate, and then people kind of chuckle, why the hell would I want to be buried in that? I don't know. Let's move our way down, and maybe I can find a price point that makes you happy. But then when you show them the $5,000 package, it doesn't seem like as big of a deal because you're dealing with, you're not dealing with a $100,000 mausoleum or a $500,000 mausoleum. So you can start with your big package item that you want to sell and work your way down. Just create your anchor point.
that a place you could fit in scarcity in a way? If you're comparing what you could have, I mean, your business could be down here as far as years, you're kind of putting a scarcity comparison in there.
Scarcity would be a different point.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you mean by up here and down there.
Well, like if this is how your, say, business could be, but say, for example, with this advertising dollar, you could be bringing it here. So do you want to be down here, or would you like your business to grow?
Oh, like we could add another $500,000 in annual revenue to your business, and it's only going to cost you $2,000?
Well, or if you don't do this, you're going to stay where you are, failing. So you kind of,
Well, we're talking about doing a comparison here. We're talking about comparing really apples to oranges. We want to control the comparison point. So scarcity would be a little bit different. I only have this offer for 30 days. I can only hold this for you for 30 days. It's more of a takeaway, whereas this is more of a natural, they don't even know what's happening. What happens with resistance, anybody ever have somebody like come back and want a refund? That's resistance. It's something that wasn't addressed in the process. There's something that came back afterwards and haunted them or kept going on that wasn't addressed. And you can use scarcity to get somebody to move forward. I like to joke, if we have a room full of knives and spiders and snakes and stuff like that, I can push you through the room, but you'll still hate me afterwards for doing it. Whereas if I can eliminate the resistance part of it and we walk side by side together through it, at the end of it, it'd take a lot of resistance removal to get me to go through that. But if we can do that, then that resistance isn't there afterwards, and they still like me and I'm a nice guy. That's a little bit difference between scarcity. It's more of a push as opposed to walking hand in hand with the person. And then another one, like I said, was skepticism, testimonials. If you have other people, satisfied clients that have helped you, that you've helped. So you guys are in the video business. Video testimonials are awesome. Guarantees. Guarantees take away
Fear.
the fear, exactly, the fear, the resistance that goes along with it. The longer the guarantee, the better. Lifetime guarantee, a year guarantee, as opposed to just like a little 30-day guarantee. A lot of people are afraid to do that, but the reality is by the end of the year, they forgot that there was a guarantee that lasted a year on it anyways. But guarantees are huge. Guarantees don't have to be anything extraordinary either. In my insurance agency, we had a 4-point guarantee that we gave everybody. It's the same damn guarantee that every insurance company has to honor anyways. Cancel at any time. You have 30 days to get your money back. What was it? Service guarantee. I mean, this is silly. We have an unconditional service guarantee. What does that mean? Well, if you don't like us, you can leave. I mean, that was kind of like the extent of the guarantee. It was nothing, it's everything that was insurance law. By law, all insurance companies have to honor this, but we put it in writing, we sent it along with the quotes and with everything else that went with their customers, and they thought that's cool. If you're familiar with Claude Hopkins, he did something similar in talking about, in my life, scientific advertising, I think it is. Back in the 30s, I think it was, and this doesn't have to do with guarantees, but the Schlitz beer was like last place of all the beer brewers, and he took them up to number 2 by simply outlining the process of what it is that they do. They heat pasteurize the beer, they steam clean all the pipes, they went through this big elaborate thing explaining the process of making beer. It's the same thing all the other beer manufacturers did, but they just outlined it and made it seem like it was something more classy than everybody else. That's all you gotta do. Pick what you do. I mean, what laws you have to go by or whatnot, that's an easy guarantee to give.
Guarantee, because I have to.
That's right. The third type of resistance is probably the most difficult to deal with, or the most frustrating: inertia. This has absolutely nothing to do with you. Okay, I'm gonna turn this is smoke. This is just people not wanting to change. You know, an object in motion will remain in motion, an object at rest will remain at rest. They're just there. They don't want to change. They're not unhappy. They're not miserable. They're not looking for something better. They're just there. Some of the ways to get people moving, give them alternate choices. So you got to give them two choices to make a decision off of. I wish I remember the website. I saw it a year or so ago. There was it was a fitness website and had some information that said, click here if you're male, click here if you're female, or for specific information, and it took you to a particular information. If you're kind of searching for that information, you're already kind of moving in a direction, but now that they're getting you to isolate that you're one or the other, you're already starting to move in a direction towards that. It could be the exact same information on the resulting landing page, but it split the traffic up and got you thinking that this is information geared towards me. I actually saw this the other day. Somebody sent it to me and said, this is brilliant. I'm like, it is. There's a link to some stupid video. It said something along the lines of, oh my God, I can't believe this is going on. And it was the dumbest video about some hamburger mask that people were wearing in Japan or something. So did you see that?
Yeah.
It was a dumb video. I don't understand what the title had to do with it. But when I landed on the site, there was a pop-up that slid down. And the pop-up said something along the lines of, should media be photoshopping pictures of women to make them look thinner and airbrushing and removing the features to make them look more attractive, basically, something like that? Yes or no? That was the pop-up that came down. I was like, well, that's weird. So I clicked yes. Of course, I think that's bad. And then it says, we agree too. Sign up here. Sign up here for more information. So I don't know. The thing that caught me off guard was that the question didn't relate to the information that was provided in the following thing, but it got people to click. Okay? I don't know what that said when it said no, because I should have just gone to another browser and had a cookie and it wouldn't show it again.
It just closes it. I think the website's called Uplevel.
You've seen it?
Yes, it's a very popular website. They have lots of videos like that. It's
That was
Upworthy, that's it.
Upworthy, yes, that's what it was, yes.
Yeah.
So are they buying content from other people just so that they can attach their thing to it? Is that what the whole idea is?
No, they have
behind it?
contributors, and they just contribute stuff that's on the internet.
So they
They're
have
usually from
bullets.
YouTube and things like
So they have
that.
people-
It's like a boing boing or
Yeah.
something.
I feel like
And if you agree with them, the thing that pops up after that is an opt-in to their email list.
Yeah, it's like we do too. Sign up here for more information.
like a we believe what you believe type of thing. So
You're with us, be on our list.
Exactly. But I thought that was brilliant because it got you making a decision. It got people actually involved in doing something, which makes them more likely to take the next step. So if you have people come into a site, again, Copyblogger did this. I know a couple of sites do this, where they have like different selections. You know, the first thing you do when you pop up, Copyblogger talks about the different websites that are there, or the different products that they offer, from synthesis to whatnot. Another thing to do is give them choices for payment options. I know a lot of times you may be on the fence whether or not you're interested about something. You come across the sales page, you see something, it's like, well, $97, I don't really want to spend that, or in my case, the bride will see it on the credit card, I don't want to pay for it, $97. It's like, oh, 3 payments of $33. Well, the bride doesn't pay attention to that, I could do that. It's only $33, she's not going to complain about that. So you can give them payment options that, from all in full or finance over a small amount of time. that makes it a decision from whether or not, yes or no, whether or not I want to buy the product, to yes or no, or which payment option will fit better. And like I said, give them small decisions to start them moving. So you want to make them be choosing which way, one or the other. In sales, when you're setting appointments, it's, can you meet in the afternoon or morning? Later. Just leave it on. Leave it off, who cares? But you just want to get them moving, get the sales process moving, start choosing, making decisions along the way. As long as you get them moving, then you can start directing the direction of which way you take them.
So would you say it's really all about control? Because this is my example I use with people, it's the Starbucks thing. If you just want to drink coffee because you want a caffeine fix, there are cheaper places to go. But if you go to Starbucks, then it's your choice and they're making this for you, and you can have soy and you can have 2 pumps of this and whatever. And I think that's what they're selling is you're making this especially for me, and I'm in control, and you're gonna make the product that I want for me.
Well, it's kind of like the what's it called? What's the hamburger joint that everybody In-N-Out?
Yeah.
Like there's a hidden menu that certain people know.
Yep.
So if you know the menu, you can go in there. Just
So there's a premium with
that's
that
like an
being
in-crowd.
the in-club or you're controlling. We're not going to take what you're giving us.
That's a little different. That's not the choice thing, but yeah, it's a little bit different. Yeah. Kind of like we talked about before, resisting the resistance for inertia. This also works with reactants. Like I said, people want to resist something, so let's give them something to resist. In University of Arkansas, they did a study. A couple cool studies here. Students were already walking into the student union where the mailbox was, and somebody was outside and would walk up to strangers as they were walking into there and say, "Would you mail this letter to me?" It was 71% of the people agreed just by saying, will you put this in the mailbox for me? They tested it because it was actually addressed and it came back to people. It was actually delivered. Then they would walk up randomly to people and say, I know you don't want to do this, but will you put this in the mailbox for me? Whatever the same verbiage was afterwards. But it was, I know you might not want to do this, but will you do this for me? 100% of the people dropped the mail in the mailbox and mailed the letter because they were addressed. I know you don't want to do this. Yeah, you're right. I don't. Okay, yeah. So they're pointing out the resistance that's already there and focusing it on that. I had in my notes, thank God she's not watching. My bride uses this on me all the time. I know you don't want to hang the curtains, but will you hang those curtains? I did that 2 weeks ago. That's a lot easier to use in face-to-face than in writing or whatnot, but if you're doing video or podcast or something like that, then as you're talking about it, I know you're having a busy day, or I know you don't want to do this, but will you please leave a comment, or will you please leave a review for me? Those types of things. And last of my techniques, since I only got an hour-ish, create a disruption. Our lives are filled with routine. Part of my background is in hypnosis and whatnot, and basically, hypnosis is just a change of trance. Okay, so she's on. One way to disrupt it is by saying odd things. Again, another research study, same Dr. Knowles out there in University of Arkansas. They were going around selling, door-to-door, selling a packet of 8 gift cards. They were handmade gift cards by special kids. They'd say the packet of 8 cards is $3, it's a bargain. They sold 35% of the time. They walked up to the, and randomly they pull out, you got 8 packets of cards, it's 300 pennies, it's a bargain. Conversion rate went up to 65%. They almost doubled their conversion. And they tried it another way to see if it was the 300 pennies you know, whether they phrase it, they said a packet of 8 cards is a bargain at 300 pennies, and it was back down to the 35%. So if you disrupt the normal train of thought as you're talking to somebody, like another one that they did also had to do with cupcakes. They were selling cupcakes. They're 50 cents, it's delicious. Or we're selling half cakes, it's 50 cents, they're delicious. People order half cakes. Like your brain kind of stops. It hits the button, puts you on stop, and that little suggestion about it being a bargain or it being delicious just sinks in. And then you can go on with the rest of your argument. So find ways to create little disruptions. But little things that you can do to stop a person's thought in a way, or make them have to think a little bit more about what you just said.
Speed bump.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. It's a speed bump. I pulled out a couple of my favorite headlines from sales letters from years past. John Carlton had one years ago. Amazing secrets discovered by a one-legged golfer. Adds 50 yards to your drive. Eliminate hooks, slices, and slash your strokes. Up to 10 strokes off your green. David Ogilvy had one at 60 miles per hour. The loudest noise in this new Rolls Royce comes from the electric clock. That ran in the 70s. Which I find that hard to believe. But find the way to create the speed bumps. I like that. That's a good way to say it. Another thing that I do is like link the beginning and the end of a sentence together and run them together. If you guys remember what was on Saturday Night Live years ago, Subliminal Man or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It was a little more extreme example of that, but if you could do that, it'll help sink in suggestions that reduce the resistance. Any questions that I asked?
Before you say give them choices, but is it in resistance? If you give them too many choices, or you do this, 2 choices, okay. Start to overload them.
Yeah. Like talking about Starbucks, if you actually go walking into Starbucks, they've got a whole wall of menus of things to choose from. That can be overwhelming for like a Chinese restaurant. It's like, oh my God.
That's one of the reasons In-N-Out has been so successful.
Because they only have a couple of items. Exactly.
But if you ever notice at Starbucks, they have that chalkboard or whatever with just like 2 or 3 things on
Their
it
specials.
too. So
The daily roast and
yeah.
but yeah, you want to give
the
them.
scarcity thing too, because it's right now is the gingerbread spice latte for a limited time, only this time
That's
of year.
right.
So they're really smart about what they do.
Casa Seal coffee. But yeah, you want to limit it to just a couple of choices. Like I was talking about in sales, when we're setting appointments, when I used to sell and go set appointments, it's like, well, you're talking to somebody on the phone, when would be good for you? This early in the week or later in the week? So they say, well, I'll probably look later. I'm like, oh, Thursday or Friday? Oh, morning or afternoon? Okay, how about 10 or 11? I mean, it's like it's constantly giving 2 time frames, and no matter what they gave me, it was right. We're just going to work our way to it. And that way it comes across as their idea. And that's the whole point. But it's not manipulation. That would be manipulative. Anything else? Any other questions, comments? I'm done. I'm at 43 minutes.